This is Larry Anaris making your day with part 37 of The Milk Wars. Chapter, The Logical Structure of the Breastfeeding Movement. My friends, battles tend to be spontaneous, messy affairs full of chance encounters and unexpected moves. The milk war is no different. But after the battles, a logical pattern emerges of grand plans and strategies. There are the protagonists and the antagonists, the breastfeeding advocates, the DOH, the UNICEF and the World Health Organization, pitted against the milk companies, the United States Embassy and the American Chamber of Commerce. There are the decision-making government entities, the executive branch, whose health department decides on how the law, EO 51, is to be implemented. The judiciary, which is called upon to validate its constitutionality. And the legislative branch, which institutionalizes the implementing rules into a law. Then there are the two tipping points on which we all stand or fall. Breastfeeding as a social capital that ensures the lifelong health, the intellectual development, and emotional stability of the future citizens of the world. And breastfeeding as the most widespread and least costly strategy for the alleviation of poverty. Then there are the 10 points of intervention, our chosen fields of battle to ensure our victory. For the first, protection, second, promotion, and third, support of breastfeeding. We were losing the battle to make our case before the public because the milk companies, with their great advertising budget, had gatekeepers that kept newspapers and television stations from airing our side in the inside pages and news reports. We were forced to target the front pages where we made headlines, getting the Guinness World Records for the most number of breastfeeding mother-child pairs in a single site and in multiple sites. Synchronized breastfeeding worldwide in 24 time zones at the same local time, a grand coalition against corporate greed, placing milk companies, drug companies, and tobacco companies in the same kettle of rotten fish. We defied nudity laws by baring our breasts, feeding our infants, convinced shopping malls to set up breastfeeding stations and give special treatment to pregnant and breastfeeding mothers, etc., etc., etc. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Anaris making your day with part 37 of The Milk Wars, the logical structure of the breastfeeding movement. There are 9 advocacy projects for the disaster management, forbidding formula milk because there is no clean water to mix with, and more importantly, it will destroy established breastfeeding practices, nudity laws, and censorship codes that forbids breastfeeding and encourages bottle feeding, bare breastfeeding for the Virgin Mary, approved by the Cardinal and eventually by Vatican, etc., etc., etc. There are targets and objectives, lactation experts, midwives, nurses, hospitals, health centers, mothers, babies, lactation of non-mothers, wet nursing in orphanages, monitors of the law, other advocates, consumption of indigenous foods that are safer, accessible, affordable, and sustainable compared to cow's milk, etc., etc., etc. All of this printed in a huge poster for the benefit of other underdeveloped countries struggling against the imposition of greedy milk companies with the following description. Background: 25 years have passed since the establishment in 1981 of the WHO International Code on the Marketing of Breastfeeding Substitutes. 20 years have passed since the International Code was proclaimed a national law by a revolutionary government headed by the first woman president of the Philippines in 1986. But violence and law were rampant, and exclusive breastfeeding rates in the Philippines fell to an all-time low in 2006, down to 16.1% nationwide, and only for an average of 24 days. Objective: to show an example of how a few breastfeeding advocates in a poor country can overcome an uncaring bureaucracy, the lack of interest among decision makers, the financial might of the U.S. milk companies, the political power of the U.S. Embassy and the American Chamber of Commerce, and the antagonism of the press, radio, and television, to establish the legal framework of one of the best systems for the revival of the breastfeeding culture. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.